If you're an American moving to the Philippines, you need to hear this. Before I went on an extended stay to Cebu, I thought that I knew everything about the Philippines because I had already stayed here 2.5 months prior for about 1 week, almost actually 10 days. Today we're going to be talking about 5 good things about living in Cebu and 5 very challenging things about living here in Cebu. My name is JC. We are almost at 100 subscribers. We are 17 videos deep into the channel, 2 of them being short. I really sincerely appreciate the day 1 followers, and I would encourage everybody else to give a like, comment, follow, and subscribe. I also have all kinds of descriptions for my personal Facebook page, all of the gear that we use to be able to document these processes. And this is going to be a very different video from the normal set, which is we always do some kind of a vlog style. This one is going to be different because I have now been here for 30 days. I had a lot of preconceived notions of what I thought this place was going to be. Some of them were absolutely correct, and some of them I could not be more wrong. So we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, and maybe some of the ugly about being in Cebu for a long time, especially from an American standpoint. It does not matter man or woman or the age. Number 1, I have never felt more welcomed anywhere in my entire life, especially by an entire country. There's 2 different caveats to this particular subject. One is just the outward of what everybody sees you as a society from a whole country's perspective. And then there's also the family aspect if you have the blessing to be able to have somebody that you care about here, whether it's a Filipino woman or a Filipino man. We'll start with the family. I have my wife Mariel. If you guys look at all the other videos in my channel, my wife Mariel has been in the background, and so has her family. I have shown the way that her family lives. I have shown what the daily life looks like, and I've shown a lot of little different nuances about the Philippines as we've gone through this process together. The one thing that I will say is that I have never actually been treated like family by a significant other, meaning women. I actually had quite a few different partners back in America, and none of them worked. Some of them I would like to say is their fault, some of them definitely my fault. But I was able to interface with a lot of different American setups when it comes to family dynamics. And in comparison to most Filipino households, a lot of American households are very, very broken. There is a lot of standalone people, a lot of people that don't talk to certain members of their family, and I'm actually in that boat. There's some people in my family that I don't talk to, and that has become somewhat of a social norm here in America. Or there in America. In the Filipino culture, I have never seen a family dynamic like that. My wife's family, from the very first day that I ever arrived, they treat you like royalty. It's awe-striking how much they treat you like royalty. As small example, when I got to her mom's house, they took my bags, they shipped everything for us. So we arrived on a motorcycle, they took all of our bags from us that we were carrying, and they carried it for us. Her mom, which is my wife's mom, Mariel, her mom constantly reminds her on how to serve me, to check on me, make sure I'm never hungry, those kinds of things. When I go to Mariel's province, which is in San Carlos, Barangay province, everybody in that entire village, I'd say it's about a population of about 100 to 200 people that are very close in that network. Every single person knows me, they all smile, they all say hello, and it's honestly one of the most endearing and warm family dynamics I have ever seen. Does not matter if it's the United States or the Philippines. I definitely think that people treat you better overall as a whole in the Philippines. And then we go to the other aspect, which is on the outside. As an American, when I am walking around in a mall or I'm traveling on a motorcycle, I am always stared at. And it's very rare that this stare comes from a place of anger or hate. Oftentimes, it's almost like admiration, or you are looked at as if you're like a celebrity. I've said that throughout a couple different videos, but that genuinely is how it feels. And if you go up and try to say hi to these people, they act like they are blessed to be able to even talk to you. So it's absolutely crazy. Now this is specifically American to Filipino. Other Filipinos obviously just treat each other like everyday people. Next, we will talk about the living expenses. It is exactly what you hear through the rumor mill online, and most videos are actually giving you real pricing. However, cheaper does not mean that you are going to get the same quality. So for example, we live in a very nice studio apartment. It has an induction stove, it has a hot water heater, but there's a lot of little nuances that comes with $440 a month at a premier building. For example, our shower drain did not drain properly when we first got here, and it took 2 weeks to get it fixed. Our water pressure is almost non-existent, so you're getting water dropped on you. It's not blasting you, and that was something that I took for granted in America that I didn't even think about. Our apartment always has ants at some point, but you would never be able to attain a place like this for $445. If you guys would like to see the actual building, there's gonna be a video that you can take a look at. I have all kinds of videos. You can see my transition from America to where I'm sitting today. And that is also carried along for food as well. Just because it's cheaper does not mean that it's gonna be of a certain quality. Oftentimes you're paying a very cheap price for a very cheap quality product, whether it's food or anything like that. So I've actually found that even obtaining like chicken breast is very difficult to find here, and you're gonna be relying a lot on street food and a lot of those inconsistencies that will follow with that. Sometimes the chicken store that we go to, like Rotisserie Chicken, sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they have chicken, sometimes they don't. It does come with a cost. Just because you're exchanging your dollar 57 times farther, it does not mean that you're always gonna be getting the same American quality that you're used to. In fact, in my experience, it's quite the opposite. But yeah, the rumors that you've heard online, you can live here for $1,200, $2,000, $3,000 a month it's absolutely true. You can live here for that kind of a price. You are sacrificing quality along the way when that happens. Next is going to be the lesser of the hustle culture that we have there in America. Everybody wants bigger, badder, faster, stronger. You know what I'm talking about. Kanye's song, Stronger. That's perfect. That's a perfect example. Here, most people do not have that kind of motivation. More people like to sit, they like to talk, they like to get to know each other, they like to take naps, things like that. And so you're gonna find that the pace here in the Philippines, if it's something that you prefer, very relaxed. A lot of places don't open until 10 a.m., that kind of stuff. And for the people that, you know, if you have an online remote job and you get paid $15 an hour and you just want to sit and relax and not feel the pressures of America creeping behind your back because of how much everything costs, this might be a perfect candidate for you. But overall, a very relaxed environment. This is one of the last topics in terms of the good. This place, you are going to come here most likely for one of two reasons. One is either you have a partner here that you're going to be here with, or there's something about the culture that you really enjoy, which is that warm, family central kind of community and culture that they have. The other, which is what this one is about, is the breathtaking nature that you find at this country. I came from Arizona, was most of my experience. Arizona has pine trees, it has desert, it has the Grand Canyon, it has snow, it has 120-degree weather. Arizona kind of has all demographics of climate built within it. And then I went to Indiana for about 6 months. There is nothing in America, anywhere that you look, that is going to resemble what you find here in Cebu or here in the Philippines. You are going to get lush green jungles everywhere you go. There's going to be fog all the time. It is very much a rainforest kind of a vibe. Getting to a beautiful part of nature sometimes takes only 2 or 3 minutes, and the scenery is absolutely crazy. Some of the best that I think God has ever created. Now it is time for some of the challenging things. These are going to be things that you may not have thought about before, but once you get here, you're going to be smacked with all of them all at once. So the first thing is infrastructure and traffic. The only thing that I can compare the traffic to is what I found in Mexico down by Rocky Point back when I used to travel there frequently with my grandfather as a child. The traffic here is absolutely nuts. You will have people going down one lane of traffic. There is a double yellow and people are passing on the left and people are passing on the right. Because of the lower income status that the country has, I would say probably 80 to 90% of residents take either jeepney, or if they own a vehicle, it's going to be a motorcycle. So there is a bunch of motorcycles here, more than anywhere I've ever seen, especially in America. Most people, even if you have a lower income standard, have cars in America. Here, it is 24/7 motorcycle, motorcycle, motorcycle. With that being said, the traffic here is constant and it is crazy. So if you are not a confident rider, because most people here are probably gonna rent a motorcycle like I did, I am glad that I had about 7 years of riding a motorcycle on dirt and the street before I came here back in America. And so this crazy traffic traffic mixed with my ADD is perfect, because for me, I get constantly stimulated. You always need to be paying attention, because you could be going one way and then somebody just pulls out right in front of you, and that is a normal thing here. Traffic laws almost don't exist. Almost. You can pretty much go any speed that you want to wherever you are. You can expect honking at all times, and you can expect emissions from vehicles. There is a lot of black smoke, white smoke, all this kinds of gases that are constantly being burnt because there's no emissions control here. So you're gonna have a lot of what feels like dirty air, especially if you're traveling in traffic and sitting behind buses and waiting at traffic stops and lights and all that other stuff. The daily commute can rip your face off. And sometimes if you're tired, or if you had pretty rough sleep, or if you just got into an argument with somebody, sometimes traffic is not something that you want to deal with, but you're gonna have to deal with it. The next thing is going to be internet and service reliability, which I laugh at because I've already been living this for a long time. I came into this country with Verizon Business. I think that that's going to be the very best cellular service that America has to offer. And I have service on my phone 40% of the time. And of that 40% of the time, it is slow at best. Meaning you do like a YouTube search, it will sit there for about 30 seconds until you get something back. If you need to message somebody or look at it, even refreshing your Facebook feed, sometimes even though you're in the middle of a plaza in a big city, you're not gonna have service. That's gonna be a huge difficulty for a lot of Americans. I know it was for me. I also am here at home. I pay for the very best internet that is provided here. And when it gets to be nighttime, my upload and download speeds average about 10 megabits and 20 megabits per second. But sometimes it's 150 megabits. So it's just the luck of the draw. There is no such thing as consistent here. Next is that it is not hot, it is humid, which I was slightly prepared for. Like I said, I had been here about 7 to 10 days before I came here, somewhat full time. I remember the humidity being there. I don't remember it constantly draining all of my energy. So if you do research, I actually looked on ChatGPT before I made this significant change in my life, where I just looked up the average weather month by month. And what I found is that the average was about 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was about 70 to 85% humidity for every single one of those months. So here, they don't have seasons here. It is summer all day, every day, no matter what time. The only thing that changes is if you have a higher chance of typhoons, and obviously earthquakes are dictated by the tectonic plates. There's no seasons for those, those just happen randomly. But every morning before I leave my house, I make sure that I have almost a half gallon of water and that I'm well prepared to sweat all of that out over the next 2 to 3 hours that I'm gonna be outside. You will be sweating when you're sitting down, you'll be sweating when you're eating. As an American, unless you have genetics from a different kind of part of the world where you are tuned and adept to be able to deal with heat, you are gonna sweat a lot, all the time, every single day. Next is the cultural adjustment, meaning there is a term out there that is called Filipino time. And there's also a difference in culture of how the Filipino people communicate, which in my experience, they don't communicate at all. Like they don't communicate anything. So as an example, if you go onto Google Maps anywhere in America and you look up a business, it will have its hours posted, it will have a phone number, most likely a website, probably a Facebook page, etc., etc., etc. To which they will be held to a standard that that information is correct. So if you want to go to Bucky's Diner at 10 a.m. and you look them up and it says they open at 7 a.m., you can bet your American butt that they will be open, especially if they have an average rating of 4.5 stars or greater. Here, that is not the case. There are several quote unquote 5 or 4.8 star businesses that we drove 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes through the heat and through the duration of traffic on a motorcycle, and that business is no longer open, they don't exist, they don't have a phone number, they don't have a Facebook page, they don't have anything. So there is a massive amount of inconsistency that you're going to find here no matter what. That's something that as an American, you just expect that things are the way that they are advertised. And here, oftentimes, it is not the case. For example, I had to go to a doctor and then I had to go and schedule that appointment after we found the correct doctor. Then that doctor rescheduled on me 2 times over the telephone, and then they scheduled me in person to their office, to which I went on time and none of their office staff even showed up. If any kind of practice like that came from an American doctor, they would not be in business by that third day that they decided to open their doors. Here, even if it's a doctor's service, do not expect 100% accuracy. Do not expect them to even reply. Like the day that I sat outside that doctor's office, you have to use WhatsApp, which is not like an official phone number. It's one of the cell carriers that you can use internationally. I texted them a picture of the front door and they didn't even reply to say sorry for 45 minutes after that. There have been several times where I was enraged because you expect something to be a certain way and that's not the way it is. The final thing that I found very challenging as an American is the sanitation of the country or lack thereof. For example, the first 2 or 3 weeks that I was here, my wife advised me and strongly recommended that I do not drink any of the water that they serve here in the restaurant, even though it's purified. And that is true. Your stomach, your system, your immune system is gonna go through an adjustment phase because things are just not as clean here. It doesn't matter if it's the city street, the sidewalks, all the dogs that are walking around, or even the places that sell raw meat like fish and chicken and pork. Oftentimes you'll go down the road, you'll see people with a string of wire like a coat hanger kind of deal with a plastic bag on the end, and they're literally sitting there swatting the flies away from the fresh meat that smells to all high hell all day long in the hot sun. When me and my wife go on a motorcycle ride, we are hit with a wide array of smells. You get fresh air, you get rain, you get a lot of gas and burnt gases from the trucks, semi-trucks, motorcycles, and cars that are here because there's no emissions testing. You're gonna smell trash at least 50 times for every single motorcycle ride or adventure that you go on. And after a while, it adds up and it's all a very immersive experience that can cause a lot of stress, especially to those that are used to being a passenger in a 4-door sedan traveling at 65 miles an hour with perfectly air conditioned. So those are gonna be some of the vast differences that you will notice. I don't regret coming here whatsoever because I'm still here with my wife. I love her very much and she was the main reason why I came. The other bits too is just experiencing another part of the world. I am literally as far away from the United States as you can possibly be, almost 8,500 miles. I find that connecting with God here is also very easy, which is a very big deal for me. I also enjoy that this has added so much value to my YouTube channel in terms of showing you guys what it's actually like to be here, what the expectations should be, or if you do have expectations, what pace to set them at. Last final bit of advice, and I think that this is gonna go towards the more autistic side of my audience. And it's just because actually at one point I was diagnosed with autism. I don't know if that's true. Honestly, I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's obvious to you guys that I do have autism, but for me, a lot of the humor for me comes from sound. Whether it's like a fart noise or clicking or somebody says something in a funny accent. A lot of those things generate a lot of humor for me, but at the same time, I'm extremely aware of my surroundings at all times. So that means that sounds to me mean a lot. The sounds here are nonstop, 24/7, all the time. You are going to hear roosters, you're gonna hear karaoke, random people singing, whether they should be singing or not singing. You're gonna hear motorcycles. For example, I don't know if the audio can pick it up, but there are motorcycles going even though I am on the 13th floor of where I live, and you can hear them crystal clear. There is no noise restrictions, there is no such thing as a curfew or anything like that. People are ripping those motorcycles all day long as fast as they possibly can. There's also dogs barking constantly, and there's always some kind of construction going on. With everything being said, you are going to experience a very lively culture when you come here to the Philippines. A very welcoming and loving and kind, lively culture here. I sit here with respect. I am a visitor. I do not have the right to make demands as the same standard as I did back from home, and I knew that coming here. So I'm actually very appreciative to be here. Their visa policies here are 20 times easier than they are in America. I got my visa extension done today, and it cost $25. Now I can be here for another 30 days, and I can do that for up to 3 years straight. Then I just have to leave the country for 1 day and then come back. In America, it is a fortress. Me and my wife getting that transition done of getting her to be able to even visit in America has been a long, long, long journey. So those are some of the ups, some of the downs, some of the sideways, and some of the not so good. I appreciate you guys joining me today. I wanted to give you a realistic idea of what it would be like from an American standpoint before before you come here and actually write your soul off and say, I'm gonna be here for the next 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Again, the channel is growing and I'm actually very happy with the growth that we've had so far. We're almost at 100 subscribers, and I would ask, give it a subscribe and give it a share. Give it to somebody that you think it would be valuable to. Drop a comment down below for video ideas. I'm more than happy to take a look at them and make a whole entire video off of it. Remember, kid, God loves you. JC, out.